Hello and welcome to Move or Improve with Debbie. I'm going to talk today about what kind of housing do millennials and baby boomers want, and is it really any different? You may be a baby boomer who has sold their house and now you want to buy a condo, and you find that you're in competition with a 20-something who is buying their first home. And so you get in a multiple bid situation, and what do you do? And what kind of housing do millennials and the boomers want? Is it really that different? Well, in understanding the preferences of baby boomers and millennials, it's really important to know how to sell your home to the next likely buyer. And my information for the program is really taken from either the National Association of Realtors, which I'm a member because I'm an associate broker, or the National Association of Home Builders. I hold the Certified Aging in Place Specialist designation, so I can talk about several different angles on this one. But millennials, which are also known as Gen Y, they were born roughly between the years of 1980 and 2000, or 1977 to 1995, depending on which media outlet you believe. And the term millennials was coined by two sociologists, Neil Howe and William Strauss. And millennials enjoy sharing their lives online. They love taking selfies, posting on Instagram. Baby boomers were born the years immediately following World War II up to 1964. And that phrase, baby boomers, was coined by the Washington Post newspaper when the term was first used in an article which appeared in that paper in 1970. And many, but not all, baby boomers tuned in. They got high. Some of them dropped out, dodged the draft, became hippies in the 70s. And they're very independent-minded, and they're vocal about what they want. And I think they will have a great deal of influence on the future of senior housing, quote unquote, as they age, because they're going to be more demanding, and developers are going to have to get more creative in meeting their requirements and what they want. So 66% of all millennials plan on purchasing a new home within the next 5 years or so, and they represent 34% of home buyers in the marketplace. And they are better informed about their options than other generations were because of their access to technology and the internet. And they take more time researching things, and they ask more questions. Of course, the internet plays a big part in that, whereas baby boomers didn't have access to that when they were growing up. One thing about millennials is they want everything in the home to be just right. Home ownership is an important part of living the American dream, even though only 11% of millennials consider a home to be permanent. Millennials do plan on selling their starter home, since 70% or so view it as a stepping stone to the home they really want. And the average homeowner keeps their home for 10 years, but millennials really only want to keep their homes for about 6 years because they want to move up. Saving for a down payment is more challenging for them due to stagnant wages, and they still have a lot of student loans outstanding. And so they don't have as much money left over to make updates. So millennials look for houses that are fully updated and move-in ready. And this is very true. I've seen this as a realtor. I tell people, you either have a choice. You can sell it the way it is and not make any improvements, or you can fix it up and get it ready for a millennial to buy. And there's a smaller window of people who are willing to buy an as-is fixer-upper than there are millennials who are willing to purchase something that's move-in ready, as we call it. They want and expect updated kitchens, updated bathrooms. They even like energy-saving features like solar panels, an open floor plan, home office, good internet and cell service, and all in a good location. And nearly half of millennials would rather buy a brand new home in order to avoid maintenance issues that might occur in the first year or two after buying a house. They don't want to have to do any maintenance. That's key to remember. So make sure all your systems, if you're selling your house and you have a millennial as a potential buyer, make sure all your systems are in good working order. And I always like to suggest to people that they do a pre-listing home inspection just to make sure that there's no big issues. Younger millennials do value the urban type of home. Older millennials like the suburbs. Half of them live there, but only 25% live in urban areas. So they want to live close to work and close to things to do. And 4 out of 5 adults between the ages of 18 and 25 live outside of a downtown urban city. And they're very frugal with their money. And 65% of them choose the location of their home based on how long a commute they have. And they don't necessarily like the big cars. They will bike to work, or they'll take Uber, or they'll buy a smart car. Their transportation is minimal, and they want to spend as little as possible on it. So that's another interesting difference between them and the boomers. Automation is a very important factor. It allows millennials time to do things that they want to do. They look online for houses, and once they buy, they want to automate the house as much as possible to make it secure, and are therefore interested in smart home with wireless thermostats, smart security systems, wireless speakers, Wi-Fi cooking ranges, smart locks. Automated light and shade controls are just a few of the features that millennials like. And they want something that's already fixed up so they can spend more time with friends or traveling. I know I once had a townhouse in an established community, and the buyer was a millennial, and she was very concerned about having to use a traditional key in the lock to open the door. She was even more surprised when she contacted the HOA and found out that you couldn't put on a punch type of lock system on the front door. It wasn't allowed. So she said, well, I'm going to go ahead and buy it because I really like the floor plan. But the first thing I'm going to do is go to the HOA and get that rule changed, because that's just stupid, because the community is an older community and they've never bothered to change their bylaws. So that's something else to think about. So if a millennial is your target to purchase your home, use excellent photography and very much choose a realtor who uses a large social media platform, because that's what they love. And they want to see that a house that tells a story on Instagram. That's a big thing right now with millennials. And Snapchat is another popular venue for reaching out to an audience of millennial buyers. And you want to build a buzz about your home so that this generation will flock to it. Millennials browse social media while they're texting with their friends, and it limits the time to actually pick up the phone and call someone. So they want instant answers during the day, and texting is an excellent way to reach out to them. They will spend $10 on avocado toast, but when it comes to buying a home, they're willing to give up luxuries in order to stay in their budget. They know how to see the value in a property because they're well educated on market conditions and they've done their homework. The quality of life is very important to them, and they don't want to give up their lifestyle in order to have their dream home. So if you think a millennial may be the buyer for your home, you want to select a realtor who has up-to-date social media accounts and make sure that your home is move-in ready, and your realtor will tell you what you need to do. You also want to include a list of food and social activities nearby, as well as the features of the home itself, but make sure that all this is written to catch the millennial's eye. They're buying a lifestyle, so you need to stay up to date with market trends, and a realtor who knows how to reach the millennial market will be able to help you achieve your goal. And I've also had transactions where the parents of the millennials are involved in either the decision-making process, or they help with the financing, or both. And essentially, there are two sets of buyers. There are parents who may provide the down payment or help with the mortgage. And it gets very interesting when the parents' view of a property vary from the millennials' opinion of the property. So that can be an issue. You need to learn how to help the millennial pick out what they really want rather than what the parent thinks they should have. Millennials want to see more than what their realtor can show them. So fixer-uppers are out. They want new homes or older ones that have been fixed up and are in move-in ready condition. And millennials are not afraid to buy in smaller cities and towns on the outskirts of more expensive, larger cities because it's more reasonably priced for them. They want good paying jobs and affordable homes to buy. And in short, they want what other generations have wanted. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different approach. So what about baby boomers? Where does this leave them? Well, the baby boomers are 78 million strong, and they once were the largest American generation of purchasers until the millennials came along. And there's about 10,000 baby boomers turn 65 every day. So it is a very strong market. And they do not like or want the cookie cutter retirement communities. They want aging in place solutions and affinity living. And new housing options are emerging as well. I think that's one reason why Latitude Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett is making a killing with his new concept on retirement living, and I think he's paving the way for future improvements, which I will discuss in a future podcast. 63% of the baby boomers want to buy a single-family detached home, and 75% of those want a single-story home, and 50% of baby boomers want a full or a partial basement at least, because they have stuff that they want to keep, or they want to set up extra guest space in that lower level. Very few of them prefer a central city location, only about 7%, so that's not enough to wonder about. Baby boomers have a lot of money, and they're not afraid to spend it. And baby boomers control more than 70% of financial assets and have 50% of the discretionary spending power. 80% of boomers own a home, and 25% own at least one additional type of real estate, like a vacation home or a rental property. Many baby boomers want to rent during retirement and avoid maintenance issues. So you want to listen to my podcast on this subject. It's called Should You Rent or Buy in Retirement? And it'll give you some good ideas on how to decide what's best for you as you sell your home and buy or rent something else. So baby boomers want and need to work, and 3/4 of them plan to work in retirement. This generation will most likely move in and out of the workforce throughout retirement. Boomers will look for houses that have in-home offices and high-speed internet connections and wireless capabilities, just like the millennials, but they want to also have it double as a guest room, and flex space is necessary to accommodate visiting family. So when the grandkids come to visit, they want to have a place to put the family, as well as live in it while they're by themselves as empty nesters. 47% of boomers want to stay in their current home during retirement or begin retirement in their current home and then move elsewhere later. And there are some companies, research firms that say that that number is even higher, maybe as high as 70+%. But the problem is once they stay in it, then they realize this is going to be a whole lot more work than what I really want to do. And so then they have to move elsewhere later. They want to stay as part of a heterogeneous community with a strong cultural and recreational lifestyle. They like shuffleboard and bingo and bocce ball, but that's been replaced by snowboarding and wine tastings for adventure-seeking boomers who want to live their remaining years with gusto. They want a home that can accommodate family gatherings, but they want something that will provide for their changing physical abilities. They want wider wheelchair-friendly hallways without it looking like it's for an old person, quote unquote. They want reinforced bathroom walls that it can accept the grab bar should the need arise later on. And an important feature in a home is a main level ensuite bedroom that can accommodate an elderly parent or relative. And sometimes they'll even want 2 master suites on the main level, one for them and one for an elderly relative. Multi-generational housing is on the rise, and 30% of existing buyers are looking for a multi-generational type of housing when they look for this type of property to buy. And as far as the amenities they want, they like a smaller footprint but with upscale amenities. So if they're going from a 4